This is Eyewitness News up close.
The murderous gang known as MS-13, the opioid crisis, had to rehabilitate young offenders accused of minor crimes without sending them to jail. How do you fight crime and still reform the criminal justice system? It seems intractable, but this morning, one woman who is trying to do both. Our guest, Nassau County District Attorney Madeline Zingas. And the Democrats get a big victory in Alabama, picking up a Senate seat in the heavily long-time Republican state. So what do the Democrats do now if they want to try to regain control of Congress in next year's election? Our guest this morning, veteran New York Congressman Joe Crowley of Queens, the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus. And good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Ritter. Welcome to Up Close. All the president wanted for Christmas was a tax bill on his desk. He just may get it, although there do appear now to be some roadblocks to navigate. But criticism of that Republican tax cut is the cut is mostly for wealthy people and for corporations. That's the criticism. The middle class, if they get anything, won't get much, especially if they itemize their deductions on their tax forms. One man in the thick of all this, veteran New York Congressman Joe Crowley, a Democrat from Queens, and he joins us this morning. Congressman, welcome.
Thanks, Bill. Queens and Bronx.
Queens and the Bronx, you're right.
Yeah.
Right, of course, near the Frog's Neck and everything else. And I apologize to the great people of the Bronx who you represent,
Great
who
folks.
I did not acknowledge. You are now, is it the fourth ranking, the highest ranking member of the
chair of the
Democratic
Democratic Caucus.
And
yes.
what does that mean, the chairman of the Democratic Caucus?
It means a number of things. One, it means that I run the weekly caucus meetings of the Democratic Caucus. Every Democrat that's elected to the House is a member of that caucus, elected by them. I also prepare our annual policy weekend or retreat. We bring in people from all over the country to speak about issues and the politics of the day. And it's really it's an elected position by my fellow caucus members.
But you're very much a minority party. You don't have the White House. You don't have the Congress. You don't have the Senate. What does it mean for the future of your party? How much are you all discussing that? Before we get into the weeds of the issues, how are you discussing that? And what kind of leaders are going to emerge in these next couple of years to take the banner from your party?
Well, Bill, what I would say is that we may be in the minority, but we're the party of ideas. And that didn't stop just because we went into the minority. We're with party ideas, we were in the majority and now in the minority. And it's those ideas that I think are going to propel us forward to recapture the House of Representatives. And what I think that really specifically means is talking to those folks that we lost in that last election. Not that we have every solution to your problems, but we have a better deal for better jobs, better wages, and a better future. And I think that is through an infrastructure package. What we really did was stop talking about the pain that folks had felt. We had saved the big three auto companies, yet 100,000 people lost their lives. I think it's directly responsible in many respects for the loss of jobs and opioid abuse, the rise of white supremacists and the KKK and anti-Semitism and anti-immigrant feelings in this country as well. I think they're all linked in many respects to economic insecurity and lack of job opportunity.
Where were those issues to be discussed a year ago when the election was happening?
Well, I think Hillary Clinton attempted to do that by talking about her solutions and not necessarily connecting with the folks that had, when you talk about the loss of 100,000 people in terms of their jobs, the impact is catastrophic for millions of people. That means that people had to decide whether they stay in their home state or move to a different state for a job. Marriages were broken up over that. As I said before, people are anesthetizing themselves from this insecurity that they have, and we weren't speaking to that. We were talking about solutions, about how we pay for college, about all those different things, and I think we have to first reconnect with those folks, and that's what I'm about doing. All
about feeling your pain. To quote former President Bill Clinton, who used to use that line,
exactly right.
A line enough. Donald Trump perhaps was elected because he did embrace some of that.
I think he tapped somewhat into that.
And now he is pushing this tax bill, which I should say, in all full disclosure, we are taping on Friday. Right. This is airing on Sunday. Who knows what's going to happen? But the word we're getting now, it's going to be delayed, the release of this till 5 o'clock on Friday, and a vote maybe sometime next week. But a tax bill that he says is a middle-class tax cut, but in fact all the analysis says is going to benefit mostly the uber wealthy and the corporations.
If and when this bill passes, it will be the biggest bait and switch that has ever occurred. The president played to these folks in Middle America. He said he understood their pain, said if he got elected, if you take a chance on me, you vote for me, I'll deliver for you. And what he's doing, he's delivering for the most wealthiest in this country, giving them the biggest tax cut in the history of the United States, to special interest corporations on the back of working people in this country. You know, these tax cuts for the corporations are permanent. No corporation thought they were ever going to get below 25% in corporate rate. This is 21%. It's just a big, big giveaway. It's been described as a kleptocracy, where the president and the Republican Party are robbing from the coffers of our country to starve the beast, and making way for deep cuts into Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and welfare in the next part of the cycle.
What's it going to mean for the majority of people and your constituents in Queens and
you know, in Queens, we're looking at, I believe, a tax increase, unfortunately. The inability to deduct state and local taxes, for instance, which has been in all of the proposals and now in this final proposal as well, or limiting the ability to deduct those taxes, lowering the threshold for home interest mortgage deduction to $750,000 will have an impact on the price of housing.
It could have been worse, though. It was originally at $500,000.
It could have been worse, and I guess I should be grateful that it's not as bad as they initially proposed.
But again, $500,000 mortgage in Iowa is a mansion. Here in Queens, what's the average price in your constituency?
My district, the average price in Queens is $575,000. That's the average price. That means that many of those homes go for well in excess of $700,000, $800,000, even $900,000.
Right, which says that the middle class in the Northeast, it might be wealthy people in the Midwest, but here it's a very different ballgame.
It actually, not even not in the Midwest, it actually pits middle class New Yorkers in the city against middle class New Yorkers in upstate New York.
Right.
That's just wrong.
Yeah.
That's not the way we should be operating as a state. I, for the life of me, cannot understand how my colleagues in upstate New York, whether it's Tom Reed or John Katko or Claudia Tenney or Congressman Collins, can vote for this bill. They have. 5 Republicans voted no. 4 voted for it. In the early stages. Who was right? Were the 5 Republicans who voted no right, or the 4 Republicans that voted yes right? That's an internal debate for them, but 5 out of 9 Republicans voted no.
But you have some of your colleagues, Republican colleagues, who are going to vote no on this bill. Pete King, Dan Donovan, all these people are voting no because it's going to hurt their constituents.
Because taxes are amongst the most personal things government does to people. You know,
it is personal.
People said, my colleagues said, Joe, you're taking this very personally. I said, this is personal. You are taxing my constituency more than others, and that's personal.
Let me talk to you a little bit about what else is happening in Congress. A lot of your colleagues are calling for Robert Mueller to be fired, the whole disbanding of the investigation into Russia collusion. What's your position? What's your take on their position?
I'm not shocked. I've said before that Mr. Mueller is conducting a thorough investigation. Mr. Mueller is a Republican. He has been forever, as far as I know. Was appointed during the Bush administration as the FBI director, served under the Obama administration for some time, and I think is a very reputable law enforcement official who does things by the book. I think they don't like the way in which the outcome has been in terms of the indictments that have taken place.
And where the investigation might lead.
Where we lead. What I've said is, there's been calls for the impeachment of the president, and many of my constituents would like to see this president impeached. I've said, let Mr. Mueller continue his investigation. Let him bring the facts where they may lead, and we'll deal with it then. I think to move earlier is premature. We should let him do what he has to do.
You are also the chairman of the Democratic Party in Queens, and as such, you have been labeled this last week in many newspapers articles as the kingpin for who's going to help determine who the next Speaker of the City Council is here in New York City. Do you have a favorite? You want to reveal that today?
Well, what I would say, Bill, is that I think that there are many mothers and fathers of the city. I may be one of them, and working in a really collaborative way to find who is the best to have that job. And it's really the 51 members of the City Council ultimately make that decision. I think that the members from Queens and the Bronx have worked collaboratively in the past as well with others. Now with my Democratic colleagues from Brooklyn to work in a collaborative way to pick someone. And one thing we do know, there will be a new speaker on January 3rd of next year.
And anyone who you know?
Not as of yet.
Anyone who you haven't picked at one?
No, but it'll be someone amongst the
finalists?
The finalists that are there.
Okay. Joe Crowley, native of New York, went to school in Queens, graduated
and high school at Powell Memorial.
There you go. So I
here in
appreciate it.
Manhattan.
And now the 4th highest ranking Democrat in the Congress. Congressman, thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Bill. Thanks a lot.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Just ahead, the violence from the butcherous gang called MS-13, the opioid crisis, and treating mental illness as a medical condition, not a crime. Nassau County District Attorney Madeline Singas trying to change the discussion on Long Island. She joins us next.